let's talk about descriptive writing. What do you remember most about your favorite birthday party? Or how about the time when your family went on a trip? When you describe these special moments, then you're using descriptive writing. Descriptive writing works when the subject is brought to life. When you capture an event through descriptive writing, then you have to pay close attention to details, be specific, and use all of your five senses. This is done by using specific nouns decorated by colorful adjectives. So, what is descriptive writing? Descriptive writing is playing with words, imagining a scene or character in details, and then expressing it in specific terms. Let's take an example. Let's describe this green apple. Without using descriptive writing, we can just say the apple is green and fully ripe. But then let's ask ourselves, does it include the use of five senses? Is it specific? Not really. So the best way to transform this sentence into a descriptive sentence is by asking questions. Questions may be like, what is the color of the apple? So let's write them down. Let's ask questions. What is the color of the apple? What is the color of the apple? What does it taste like? Taste like. Is the apple fully ripe? Is the apple fully ripe? And can you hear the crunch as you bite into the apple? When we answer these questions, we can transform the apple is green and fully ripe into another descriptive sentence. Let's describe this red, juicy apple. So it's red, it is juicy. Juicy. It's fully ripe and crunchy. Yeah, crunchy. Let's put these words into sentence. We can say the succulent ruby colored apple was fully ripe. We can add a character biting into the apple and say Jack slowly bites into the apple. The crunch of his teeth piercing the crunch of his teeth piercing the apple skin was noisy. So, if you see a sentence that is not fully descriptive, ask questions. What's the color? What does it taste like? Examine the texture. The next time you pick an apple, feel the weight of it in your hands. What color is the apple? What does it taste like? Is it fully ripe? Ask lots of questions. By using descriptive writing, you can draw pictures in words. So, what is the purpose of descriptive writing? Well, the purpose of descriptive writing is to let the readers feel, see, hear, and smell what you have felt, seen, heard, and smelled. Whether we're describing a person, a place, or a thing, our aim is to reveal a subject through vivid and carefully selected details. You can see that senses are really important here. Let's use the senses to describe the taste of pizza in an Italian restaurant, the smell of breakfast cooking, the slippery rocks, watching the sun fades away. You can use senses to describe these. We're gonna do it in the next video. Number 2 is details. Details are really important, but in my own experience, when writing using descriptive form, you might get carried away and include lots of details. So overrated details are like counting how many books there is in a library. So you can tell that details are vital to include in your descriptive writing, but a huge amount of them would probably transfer your writing from being really interesting to boring. Yep, details are also pictures in words. Here's an example of really overrated details in a story. The gigantic library felt as though it was an ancient haunted castle. As I entered, I sensed the smell of newly arrived books. 5 books laid on the wooden table, surrounded by 11 chairs. There was at least 21 rooms in the library, and each one included 3 tables surrounded by 12 chairs. These underlined words are really overrated details that you don't need to include in your short story. Show not tell. Probably have heard the sentence so many times, but first you need to know the difference between telling and showing. Telling is less involving of the reader. On the other hand, showing is more active. It creates mental images that brings your story and your characters to life. When you hear about writing that is vivid and strong, chances are there's plenty of showing in it. So imagine that you're in a movie. They're not gonna tell you the girls were excited. Instead, they're gonna show you a scene where giggles and screams fill the arena. Another example would be, he sits on a chair holding his guitar. Showing would be, his eyes were closed as he strummed the strings of his beating heart. It was as if he was holding on to something he never wants to let it go. So tips to include in your descriptive writing would be using sensory and figurative language like similes and metaphors. Be specific. Use different adjectives. Show not tell, and use your senses. So in the next video, we're gonna describe the sunset to a blind man, describe the smell of breakfast cooking, describe the sounds of waves hitting the shore. See you in the next video.